Well, it's been a while now that they've kind of decriminalized marijuana to a certain extent here in the city of Chicago. Has there been a reflection in terms of the drop in number of arrests or crimes or people that are actually going down for marijuana related crimes here?
Well, so you've had some push from some political parts, both locally and nationally, both for decriminalization of marijuana. And locally, you've even had some push for decriminalization of certain things, or at least lesser penalties for certain things like prostitution and other vices. The problem is that's coming from the legislature. The response from the executive branch, both I think in terms of some parts of the policing, but also frankly in terms of the prosecutor, the county prosecutor, has not been to necessarily cooperate with that.
Brendan Shiller, we're talking about a little bit about marijuana legislation here locally. Recently, Illinois has passed a medical marijuana act of some kind. It seems even more strict than anything that's on the books right now.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's more medical marijuana in name than I think. I'm not sure how this is going to play out in practice. I know there's some businesses looking in setting up dispensary. It's more, if it was strictly medical marijuana, you should have the same ability to prescribe it as you would have any other drug, presumably. But it's actually a whole lot more stricter than that. And that's obviously separate than the local attempts both by the city and county to try to decriminalize marijuana. And as I was saying before you went to break, unfortunately, I think what we've seen, at least what I've seen in some of my personal experience in the courts, is the county prosecutor has decided in certain situations where where somebody was arrested for marijuana, instead of just letting it be decriminalized, they've chosen to try to pursue it as some type of felony, as a distribution of marijuana, even when it was just possessory amounts. So you have a lot of people with interest.
You
in
have
how
different
this plays out.
agendas in different areas of our judiciary and what's going on in our courts.
Sure, and there still isn't a unanimity on the fact that marijuana should be decriminalized.
Well, it brings a question also, recently got passed here in Illinois, concealed carry law, but how does that even apply in Cook County or Chicago, where we have the strictest gun laws in the country?
So first off, what wasn't necessarily clear in all of the press about this was actually ordered by the federal courts. There was the gun rights advocates took a case. It was, I believe, the name of the case was Moore v. Madigan. And in December, the federal courts here, the Seventh Circuit, which oversees, including Illinois, said Illinois is the only state in the nation that doesn't have some type of conceal and carry law. You need a conceal and carry law. And actually, as a criminal defense attorney, I don't think that was the worst. I actually think that was a good thing, because and we've had this discussion before. My problem with gun control laws is, as many other things in the city, such as drug laws and as many other things in this nation, they get enforced unevenly. So there should be some opportunity for some conceal and carry. But the politics, again, similar with, there's a lot of agendas, and the politics of the way that this is played out in the state has resulted in some things left to be worked out, I believe, by the judiciary, and as well as some things left to be worked out by local legislators. The city of Chicago and Cook County both can do some things within the confines of that law that isn't necessarily violative of that law nor the federal ruling.
But once again, you have a situation here, just from an outside observer looking in, that, criminals on the street are not going to qualify for a concealed carry permit. It doesn't really apply to it. Like, legislation never seems to impact the activity of outlaws, and I don't see why people don't talk about that more.
Right. Well, you would have some of the right-wing gun rights advocates would argue that this does impact it, because if law-abiding citizens are carrying guns, the criminals will be less likely to use theirs. Now, I've never bought that argument. I think if somebody wants to use a gun illegally, they're not necessarily thinking about what anybody else is doing. This conceal and carry was never about any issues in terms of current violence on the street or who's carrying illegal guns on the street.
It's just kind of to bring Illinois up to code with the rest of the country as far as having a law.
The last 15 years of jurisprudence led by the Supreme Court on the Second Amendment has opened up gun rights and has basically mandated that there be some type of ability to carry a concealed weapon.